ओके, धन्यवाद सचिन अबजी। मलाई लाग्छ प्रश्न नभएपछि हजुरलाई प्रेजेन्टेसनको लागि धेरै धेरै धन्यवाद। स्टडी राम्रो छ। नेक्स्ट प्रेजेन्टेसन आर मल्ला एन्ड एस पाठक आउनुभएको छ, प्लिज। ओके, उहाँको स्लाइड। R. Malla, S. Pathak and L. Pathak, Hydrogeological and Microbial Dynamics of Groundwater and Surface Water Interaction in Pokhara Valley, Nepal. Slide ready छ उहाँको? सुरु गर्दा हुन्छ मल्लिजी।
Namaste. So I'm Robin Malla. I represent Center of Research for Environment, Energy and Water. This work has been carried out by my other two colleagues also, Sharad Pathak and Lalit Pathak too. So I'll be presenting this work, and this work was actually been carried out in Pokhara Valley. So it was a study been assigned by the JICA project through Yachiyo Engineering Company in Japan. So we supported them in carrying out this survey for the 3 types of water sources in Pokhara. So the groundwater water sources, deep and shallow, river water, all the 4 rivers, major rivers in Pokhara, and one of the lake, Phewa Lake, and also there were the drainage channel also and the dumping site also, but we haven't included those 2 types of water sources. So this is a hydrogeological and a microbial dynamics of water, groundwater and surface water interactions in Pokhara Valley. So we tried to, actually this was not the real the assigned title, but we modified it based on the data we had. So we're trying to just align to this topic. So we know that we're aware about the Pokhara, and it's very popular both nationally and internationally. It's a hub for tourists, and there are many kind of, it's a valley, and there are 9 clusters of lakes also, and many rivers flowing through the valley. So there is a challenge of the urbanization rate is very high. So because of that, there is a stress on the many kind of the resources like water, lake water, river water, and all kind of natural resources are being stressed due to the urbanization and increase in population. And because of that, so with this, there is growing contamination, environmental issues because of discharge of the wastewater, dumping of waste, and all those kind of things are increasing the pressure on the environment also. So that is degrading the water sources also. So even in, not only in Pokhara, so even in Nepal, we have in Kathmandu Valley and many other places, we have this kind of issues of impact of urbanization and the environment stress on the water resources. So, but compared to the Kathmandu Valley in Pokhara, relatively the studies are not so much. So there is a big gap even in the water, in the assessment of the water quality of the various sources, and also the hydrogeological assessment of those groundwater resources also. So with this, we try to use that assignment information to to study, to analyze this kind of issues. This slide is mainly focused on it's related to like what is the impact of, because of the climate change and also the increased population, increased urbanization rate, and it has on the water sources. For example, due to the increased discharge of wastewater, sewage, and that will amplify the increase in the microbial contamination. For example, the fecal contamination because of the increased water of rainfall and the increased temperature, that will just elevate the contamination of the microbial contamination in various sources. And that has been even indicated by the IPCC report. In the future scenarios also they have shown such kind of increased contamination due to climate change. So I think this slide is also very relevant to our study also here. So I use this slide here as a background. So the study objectives were like to investigate the seasonal hydrogeochemical and microbial characteristics of the water sources, and to know the pollution of the water sources and their risks to the environment as well as to the human being also, and to know the connectivity of the surface water and the groundwater. So we try to fulfill this objective in this study. So the study areas the Kathmandu Valley, mainly focused on in Pokhara Valley, mainly focused on the metropolitan area. So we had the three kind of water sources, groundwater. So we had 8 groundwater samples, 8 groundwater sites. So 5 were the deep groundwater sources, 3 were the shallow groundwater sources, and we had 4 rivers, Seti, Harpan, Fusre, and Furke rivers. So 4 rivers with 3 sampling points from upstream to downstream. And the lake was Fewa Lake. We had 5 sampling points. And we had the 2 years, dry season in the first year and wet season. And similarly, again in the second year, we had wet season, dry season. So total 25 sampling sites. So that makes around 100 water samples in both dry and wet for 2 years. The water quality parameters we analyzed were mainly 10 parameters. The physical chemical parameters were water temperature, pH, EC, and the suspended solids, DO, BOD, COD, and for the nutrient, we had the ammonium phosphate, and for the microbiology parameter, we had the E. coli as a fecal indicator. So we carried out the statistical analysis, mainly descriptive analysis of the data, and we did the principal component analysis and the cluster analysis also. So this is the overall mean, standard deviation, and minimum and maximum values for all the parameters, for all the groundwater, river water, and the lake. So here, mainly I want to focus on, like if you see the suspended solids, the rivers, it's very high. You can see here this value. And for the BOD and COD is high in the river water and also lake. And for the, this is very interesting one, I think, the equally. You can see here in the groundwater, the minimum CFU, coliform forming units. So it's 1 and maximum is 1200. So very highly contaminated with the equally. Similarly, in all kind of water sources, like river also, it's very similar. And even in the lake water. So main here the groundwater sources are being contaminated, both shallow and deep. So it's mainly in the wet season we found it. So in compared to dry, wet season is highly contaminated with the E. coli contamination. So this is just mean of the mean and standard deviation parameters. It's not easy. So here in this plot, we just did the spatial distribution of the E. coli contamination and the concentration. So here the mean, as I already just mentioned, that so all the water sources, river water, lake, and the groundwater sources are contaminated with the E. coli. You can see here the concentration. So it's very high for the river water, followed by the lake and the groundwater. So here I used the contamination, mainly the groundwater location at G3, G5, and the shallow waters, they are mainly contaminated with the E. coli. So I'm highlighting the groundwater pollution from the microbial contamination. So what we can say here that from the like the groundwater mineralization is very high. You can see here the mean is 180, and so microsiemens per centimeter, and the pH is 6.9 to 7.9, and we have the nutrient is total nitrogen, total phosphorus is quite low, but the contamination from the E. coli microbial contamination is very high. You can see the maximum is like 292 CFU per 100 ml. So this indicates that the groundwater is being, is contaminated with the E. coli, and there is also mineralization also high. And the surface water sources, they displayed the seasonal extremes. So, for example, in case of the parameter suspended solids, especially in the river, all the river samples, in the wet season, that's during the rainy season, monsoon time, we had very high suspended solids in the water sources of the river, and similarly, even the equally also. So this is the correlation coefficient. So you can see here there is a very high negative correlation of temperature with suspended solid, ammonia, and phosphate, and also EC, lateral conductivity, and DO. And for the BOD and COD is positive. Similarly, for even the total phosphorus and total nitrogen also positive. So this trend, this kind of correlation is obvious. So it is as per the this is the correlation coefficient for the wet season. So in this also we have the similar correlation. If you compare with the earlier slide, that was the dry season, and this is the wet season, we have this similar kind of correlation with the parameters. So here, for example, I would like to say, in case this one, the suspended solids versus ammonia and the equally, so positive. So in the wet season, this value, this correlation also indicates that, if the increased suspended solids in the, with the increase in the suspended solids in the water, the river water, we have seen that there is increase in the equally contamination, because that acts as a attaching material. So in this slide is the principal component analysis. So we have mainly the two components, and the total variance in the component 1 and 2 is like almost 30 and 20. So of the total 100% variance, the explained variance is 30 and 20. So in that, so we have the three cluster. If you see here, the cluster 1, these are the river, this is the lake, and this is the river. So the river and the lake in the cluster 1. So in the cluster 2, we have the groundwater, and it's both deep and shallow, and cluster 3 is the this river and few groundwater sites. So in this also we have the very similar kind of this variance is almost similar of the two principal components. So in this also we have these three clusters. Similar to the earlier slide, season, we have these are all the rivers and lakes. Here also we have the groundwater and the shallow groundwater, and this is the cluster of one of the river, Harpan. Okay, so with the conclusion, you can say that the microbial contamination, we have found it in the groundwater sources, so that indicates the vulnerability of the such kind of water sources, and this also indicates that the groundwater contamination might be, from the surface water that leaches to the groundwater layers. So we can draw this conclusion, and another is like hydrogeological insights. The principal component analysis is revealed that there is a transitional groundwater mixing, that in groundwater sites number 4, 2, and 3. So it indicates there is localized groundwater leaching in the surface water source. From the surface water sources, there is leaching of the water to the groundwater sources. And the seasonal influence, we have found that mainly, especially in case of the E. coli and the suspended solids, so there is a significant notable type of seasonal influence. So that increase the groundwater contamination also, and you can also see the recharge of the groundwater from the surface water. And so I would like to, as a way forward, this study was as part of our assignment, and we also like to, after this, to supplement this study. For example, we didn't have the data for like the ions to make a detailed study about the hydrogeochemistry. So in this next study, we have the hydrogeochemistry of the groundwater and also the estimation of the recharge. So these two aspects of the study, we already have conducted the study, and the results are in the pipeline. So this study can be complemented from this next our work. So in that study, we will have more on the hydrogeological chemistry and also the recharge estimation of the Pokhara Valley. So this is as a way forward. So with this, I would like to end this my presentation, and I would like to acknowledge the HGO Engineering company and the Nepal Water Supply Corporation, Pokhara office, FEWA, Lake Boating Association, and the households and the industries, that they gave us the access to their water sources, and they supported this survey also. Thank you.
धन्यवाद रविन्द्र सर. कुनै प्रश्नहरू, कुनै क्वेसन? ओके, यो धेरै ढिलो पनि भयो. अनि यो सेसनमा विशेष गरी यो ग्राउन्ड वाटर क्वालिटी सम्बन्धी भएको हुनाले एउटा मेरो अब्जर्भेसन के भने जति बुझ्यो उतै डर लाग्दो छ सिनारियो के. तर अब रिसर्चको पार्ट भएको हुनाले जे आउट फाइन्डिङ आयो त्यसमा चाहिँ अब पोलिसी मेकरहरूले ध्यान दिनुपर्ने कुरो, रिसर्च गर्नेले त रियलिस्टिक कुरा चाहिँ फाइन्ड आउट गरेर पब्लिकमा ल्याइदिने हो। त्यसकारणले धन्यवाद प्रस्तुताउकोलाई। 6वटा प्रस्तुति मध्येमा एउटा चाहिँ प्रस्तुत हुन सकेन र अमेरिका र इन्डियाबाट पनि 2टा प्रस्तुत भयो। त्यसमा पनि के इस्युहरू चाहिँ ग्राउन्ड वाटर कन्टामिनेसनका इस्युहरू र मेन मेड कन्टामिनेसनका इस्युहरू चाहिँ रेज भएको छन्। मलाई लाग्छ आजको यो प्रस्तुतिबाट चाहिँ केही हामीलाई चाहिँ दिशानिर्देशन गर्नको लागि पोलिसी मेकरको लागि केही चाहिँ सपोर्ट हुनेछ। यो प्रस्तुतिमा चाहिँ प्रस्तुत गर्ने सम्पूर्ण चाहिँ प्रस्तुताहरूलाई म धन्यवाद दिन चाहन्छु। सँगसँगै मेरो मित्र रिपोर्टर स्वर्ण साक्यजीलाई पनि धन्यवाद दिन चाहन्छु र सँगसँगै प्रस्तुतमा क्वेसन गरिदिने साथीहरूलाई पनि धन्यवाद छ। सँगसँगै यहाँहरूले यति ध्यान दिएर सुनिदिनु भएकोमा पुनः सबैलाई धन्यवाद दिँदै यो सेसन यही अन्त भएको जानकारी गराउन चाहन्छु र आयोजकले मलाई सूचना गरिसक्नुभएको छ। लन्च तयार छ, कृपया लन्च लिनुहोला। धन्यवाद सबैलाई पुनः।
Thank you, Narendra sir, for the chairing the technical session first. हामीले चाहिँ rapporteurs र token of love वितरण गर्ने कार्यक्रम रहेको छ। म token of love वितरण गरिदिनु हुन यस संस्थाका उपाध्यक्ष आदरणीय खिलानाथ दाहाल सरलाई अनुरोध गर्दछु र token of love लिदिनु हुन यस सेसनका चेयर मिस्टर नरेन्द्र खत्री सरलाई म अनुरोध गर्दछु। लाइट बाल्दिउँ न ल, लाइट कहाँबाट? त्यसै गरी यस टेक्निकल सेसन फर्स्टका ऱ्याप्टर्स मिस्टर श्रवण साक्य सरलाई पनि टोकन अफ लभ वितरण लिदिनु हुन अनुरोध गर्दछु। र हाम्रो यो टेक्निकल सेसन फर्स्ट सम्पन्न भएको छ। अबको आधी घण्टापछि हामी टेक्निकल सेसन सेकेन्ड सुरु गर्नेछौँ। त्यसको टपिक रहेको छ ग्राउन्ड वाटर सस्टेनेबिलिटी पोलिसी एन्ड म्यानेजमेन्ट। सम्पूर्ण उपस्थित महानुभावहरूलाई आफ्नो लन्च लिनको लागि माथि हलमा प्रवेश गरिदिनु हुन अनुरोध गर्दछु। धन्यवाद।